Most of us open our windows hoping fresh air will fix everything, yet our homes still end up feeling dusty, stale, or heavy over time. What many people don't realize is that older generations quietly relied on indoor plants to help keep their living spaces feeling balanced and comfortable. These plants weren't decorative trends, they were practical, everyday solutions. Over the years, they've slowly been replaced by machines and gadgets that require filters, electricity, and constant maintenance. There's a subtle fear of missing out here, because once these plants disappear from our homes, the simple knowledge behind them often disappears too. Some of these plants were once as common as growing herbs in the kitchen, quietly doing their job without demanding much attention. They didn't promise instant results, but they worked steadily in the background. Welcome to Zoom Garden, where we bring back calm, practical gardening wisdom that still fits modern life. In this video, you'll discover 10 indoor plants that naturally help create cleaner-feeling spaces with very little effort. Plant number 7 features a surprising forgotten leaf that many people today no longer recognize, while plant number 12 clears up a plant that's widely misunderstood. Ten best indoor plants that naturally purify your air. 1. Snake plant Sansevieria, the best plant for cleaning air day and night. The snake plant was once a quiet staple in homes, offices, and small shops. It wasn't chosen for how it looked, but for how reliable it was. People liked it because it could survive low light, missed watering, and long periods of neglect. In many ways, it played the same role as traditional backyard food plants that were grown not for style, but for their ability to handle tough conditions and still provide value. As interior trends changed, the snake plants slowly faded into the background. Flashier plants with softer leaves and bold colors became more popular, especially on social media and in modern garden stores. The snake plant was often overlooked, even though it never stopped doing what it did best, staying alive with very little effort. Today, the snake plant feels relevant again. Many people now live in apartments or smaller homes where space and time are limited. Not everyone has the energy or experience to care for plants that need constant attention. The snake plant fits well into this lifestyle. It's tall, upright leaves don't take up much floor space, and work well in corners, next to desks, or near windows with indirect light. It also matches clean, modern interiors without trying too hard. 2. Peace lily removes air toxins and adds natural humidity. Peace lilies used to be a common sight in family homes. You would often find them near windows, on side tables, or in shared living spaces where everyone could see them. People liked them not only because of their white flowers, but because they were easy to read. When they needed water, their leaves would droop slightly, making it obvious that it was time to take action. In that way, peace lilies behaved a lot like familiar kitchen plants or leafy greens that visibly react when they are thirsty. Over time, peace lilies develop a reputation for being difficult or too delicate. Many people stopped buying them because they assumed the plant required special care or perfect conditions. In reality, peace lilies are among the most forgiving houseplants you can own. They tolerate missed watering, adjust to different indoor environments, and recover well when given basic attention. What they need most is patience, not complicated routines. Today, peace lilies are still relevant because they fit easily into modern indoor life. They grow well in medium light and do not require direct sun, which makes them ideal for apartments and offices. Their wide-green leaves help soften rooms filled with hard furniture, screens, and electronics. They also reconnect us with older gardening habits, where people paid attention to the plant itself instead of following strict schedules or care charts. 3. Spider plant, easy care plant that removes indoor pollutants. Spider plants were once commonly shared between neighbors, usually as small offshoots instead of plants bought from stores. People valued them because they were reliable and easy to grow, much like the vegetables that used to fill backyard gardens. A single healthy plant could produce many new ones, making it practical for families to pass them along without spending money. This simple exchange built a sense of connection and made houseplants part of everyday life rather than decoration. As houseplants became commercial products, that sharing habit slowly disappeared. Plants turned into items people purchased instead of something they grew and passed on. Today, spider plants are becoming popular again, and for good reason. They are affordable, easy to find, and incredibly forgiving. For beginners, this plant is hard to mess up. It tolerates different light levels, survives irregular watering, and recovers quickly if conditions aren't perfect. Spider plants also work well in modern homes. Their long, arching leaves look great on shelves, counters, or hanging baskets, especially in small spaces like apartments. They don't need large pots or special care, which makes them ideal for kitchen corners or compact indoor gardens. Beyond looks, spider plants support sustainable habits. Instead of buying new plants repeatedly, people can reuse, propagate, and share what they already have. This mirrors smart food practices where consistency and care matter more than constant replacement. Growing and sharing spider plants encourages patience, responsibility, and generosity without effort or cost. 4. Aloe Vera, air-purifying plant with healing benefits. Aloe vera has been part of household traditions for generations. Many families kept it growing near the kitchen, on a porch, or by a sunny window. It wasn't treated as a special or rare plant. Instead, it was valued as a practical, multi-purpose plant that fit naturally into everyday life. In the same way leafy greens were grown for regular meals, aloe was there because it was useful, reliable, and easy to care for. Over time, aloe vera slowly gained a different reputation. As home styles changed, it became known mostly as a decorative plant. Some people forgot why it was originally grown at home in the first place. Today, aloe matters again because it fits perfectly with modern living, especially for people with limited space or busy schedules. It grows well indoors, needs very little attention, and doesn't demand advanced gardening skills. One of aloe's biggest advantages is its thick, fleshy leaves that store water. This makes the plant very forgiving if you forget to water it once in a while. Unlike many houseplants, aloe doesn't suffer quickly from missed care. This quality reflects traditional gardening wisdom, where plants were chosen for their ability to survive with minimal effort rather than constant maintenance. Aloe also connects well to sustainable home gardening. It requires little water, minimal fertilizer, and simple tools. This makes it a smart choice for anyone trying to reduce waste or keep plant care low impact. Many people today are rediscovering aloe as part of a calmer, more intentional lifestyle that values simplicity over excess. 5. Areca palm, natural air humidifier and toxin remover. Areca palms were once a familiar sight in larger homes, offices, and shared indoor spaces. Before air purifiers and modern ventilation systems became common, people relied on plants like these to make indoor environments feel fresher and more comfortable. Their role was simple but important. They helped soften hard interiors and made rooms feel more open and livable. As housing trends shifted towards smaller homes and apartments, Areca palms slowly disappeared from everyday interiors because people assumed they needed too much space or care. Today, Areca palms are becoming relevant again, especially as more people look for practical ways to improve indoor living. When placed correctly, they adapt surprisingly well to indoor conditions, even in limited spaces. Their long, light leaves add subtle movement to a room without overwhelming it. This makes them a good choice for apartments, work-from-home setups, or shared living areas where balance and comfort matter. Areca palms also connect to a broader idea of sustainable living. Just like backyard food gardening focuses on steady, manageable growth rather than fast results, these plants grow best with consistency. They don't demand constant attention or complex routines. Instead, they respond well to simple, regular care. This makes them a reminder that sustainability is often about habits, not effort-heavy solutions. Six, rubber plant, large leaves that trap airborne toxins. Rubber plants were once a common choice in many homes because of their bold leaves and strong, dependable growth. Families liked them because they handled indoor conditions well, similar to how familiar crops thrive in a home kitchen garden. They didn't need constant attention, and they could survive changes in light, temperature, and watering habits. For a long time, this made rubber plants a trusted option for people who wanted greenery without too much effort. As interior trends changed, however, rubber plants slowly fell out of favor. Their potential to grow large made new plant owners hesitant. Many people worried they would outgrow small apartments or become difficult to manage. Because of this, rubber plants were often replaced by smaller, trendier houseplants that seemed easier or more decorative. Today, rubber plants are becoming relevant again for several practical reasons. They grow at a steady, slow pace, which makes them easier to control. With proper pruning, they can be shaped to fit modern homes, including small living spaces. Their thick, glossy leaves are also easy to wipe clean, which helps keep the plant healthy and looking neat with minimal effort. Rubber plants represent traditional gardening knowledge that values long-term growth, structure, and durability rather than quick results. Instead of replacing plants every year, this plant can last for decades with basic care. It supports sustainable home gardening by encouraging people to keep and maintain one plant over time instead of constantly buying new ones. 7. Boston Fern, classic indoor plant that boosts air quality. Boston ferns were once a common sight in many homes, especially in shaded living rooms, front porches, and older houses with limited natural light. For a long time, people relied on their full, layered leaves to make darker indoor spaces feel more alive and welcoming. They were practical plants, not just decorative ones, because they handled low light better than many other houseplants available at the time. As trends changed, Boston ferns slowly fell out of favor. Many people began to see them as too fussy or difficult to maintain, especially when compared to newer, low-maintenance plants. Because of that reputation, they disappeared from many homes. However, that reputation is often misunderstood. Boston ferns don't need complicated care. They simply respond well to consistency. Today, Boston ferns are worth paying attention to again. They grow well in indirect light and adapt nicely to indoor environments when basic humidity needs are met. This makes them a solid choice for small apartments, especially spaces that don't get direct sunlight. Their many small leaves can also serve as a reminder of older gardening traditions, including vegetables and plants that were once grown regularly but are now forgotten. Boston ferns also connect naturally with sustainable living habits. Caring for them encourages people to pay closer attention to their indoor environment, such as air moisture and watering routines. Unlike fast-growing trend plants, Boston ferns bring back slower, hands-on care practices, like regular misting and checking soil moisture. 8. English ivy, powerful plant for reducing mold and allergens. English ivy was once a very common plant grown both indoors and outdoors. Many people used it to cover walls, window frames, and fences because it naturally climbed and spread without much effort. At the time, gardeners appreciated how easily it adapted to different spaces and how well it filled empty areas that looked plain or unfinished. It was valued for being reliable rather than decorative. Over the years, English ivy began to be misunderstood. Some people associated it with overgrowth or outdated gardening styles, which caused it to fall out of favor. In certain cases, it was avoided altogether. However, this shift often ignored how practical the plant actually is, especially for everyday home gardeners. Today, English ivy is gaining attention again for very practical reasons. It grows well in small containers and does not need bright sunlight, making it ideal for apartments and indoor spaces. Its trailing growth works perfectly on shelves, bookcases, or hanging planters, where it can add greenery without taking up floor space. This makes it a solid option for people who want plants but have limited room or time. English ivy also represents a more traditional approach to gardening. Instead of forcing plants into strict shapes, gardeners guided their growth using simple tools like basic trellises. This approach focused on working with the plant rather than against it. Ivy fits well into sustainable home gardening because it grows steadily and does not require constant care, heavy feeding, or frequent watering. 9. Golden pothos, tough indoor plant that filters indoor air. Golden pothos was once known as the everywhere plant because it showed up in almost every home. You could find it in kitchens, living rooms, and even offices with barely any sunlight. Families relied on it because it was forgiving. If someone forgot to water it or placed it in a less than ideal spot, the plant kept growing anyway. That reliability made it a quiet part of daily life, and over time, people stopped noticing how useful it really was. Today, golden pothos matters more than ever, especially for modern living. Many people live in apartments, have limited space, or don't get much natural light. Pothos handles all of that with ease. It grows well in low light, adapts to small rooms, and doesn't demand constant care. That makes it one of the easiest plants to keep alive, even for people who believe they are bad with plants. This plant also connects well with sustainable food habits. It shows how resilience builds confidence. When beginners see a plant survive and grow under simple care, they feel encouraged to try more. That's why pothos is a great starting point for indoor kitchen gardens. It helps people build routines, understand plant needs, and gain confidence without pressure or failure. Golden pothos also teaches an important lesson. Progress doesn't have to be fast to matter. Growth can be steady and simple, and still be meaningful. You don't need advanced tools or perfect conditions to succeed. Consistency is enough. 10. Dracaena marginata, stylish plant that removes harmful chemicals. Dracaena marginata was once a popular choice for indoor spaces because of its clean lines and upright growth. It was often used to add structure and order to rooms that felt busy or crowded. Designers and homeowners liked how it created visual balance without taking up too much space. As interior trends changed, this plant slowly lost attention and was replaced by more eye-catching, trend-driven plants that focused on color or unusual shapes. Today, Dracaena marginata is becoming relevant again, especially in minimalist homes. Its narrow form fits easily into corners, hallways, and small rooms where larger plants may feel overwhelming. Instead of competing with furniture or decor, it blends in and supports the overall look of the space. This makes it a practical choice for people who want greenery without clutter. Dracaena marginata also reflects traditional gardening values that focus on balance, form, and long-term care. It is not a plant that demands constant attention. With basic care, it can live for many years, making it a good option for sustainable home gardening. Fewer replacements mean less waste and lower maintenance over time. Conclusion. Returning to quiet wisdom, these 10 plants remind us that gardening was never meant to be rushed. Older generations relied on steady routines, observation, and trust in nature's pace. Indoor plants, like kitchen gardens, supported daily life without demanding constant attention. They show us that self-reliance begins with small, repeatable habits. Sustainable home gardening is less about perfection and more about patience. These plants connect us to traditions that valued usefulness over trends. When we care for them calmly, they quietly care for our spaces. That balance is worth preserving. Growing together. If one of these plants stood out to you, take a moment to reflect on why. Maybe it reminds you of a home you once knew, or a routine you want to rebuild. If you found this video helpful, please like it. It helps the channel grow naturally. Subscribe to Zoom Garden for Calm, practical gardening guidance you can return to anytime. And I'd love to hear from you. Comment below and tell me which plant you'd like to grow first. Gardening is a long conversation, not a quick answer. Thanks for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next video.